We have a shocking New York Knicks update as Jericho Sims wants a trade out of New York as Precious Achiuwa has the backup center spot locked over him. And also with Mitchell Robinson returning soon, Sims has realized he doesn't have a pathway to playing with the Knicks, and the New York Knicks, who want to trade him, will look to move Jericho Sims ahead of the deadline, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. It helps us out a ton. 31% of people watching this are subscribed. You guys have been killing it recently, so if you guys are enjoying the content, please subscribe. It helps out so much. However, let's jump into this because the New York Knicks, they found themselves in a very interesting situation where Jericho Sims would prefer to be traded out of the New York Knicks. Now, Mitchell Robinson is going to return soon from an injury, and Precious Achiuwa has gotten the backup big man minutes over Jericho Sims, who's been relegated to the bench when Karl-Anthony Towns and Achiuwa are both healthy, which means Sims now would prefer to get traded off of the New York Knicks into a situation where he won't be looking at getting basically fourth-string center minutes, which is what he will be due for once Mitchell Robinson returns to the team. Now, this was revealed by Steve Popper, who, when talking about trades in general, mentioned Mitchell Robinson being traded and said it's not just Robinson's status that holds up his trade possibilities, but Precious Achiuwa just cleared the deadline, which now opens him up for trades, and Jericho Sims wouldn't mind finding a new home with more opportunities. The Knicks are hesitant to move on off of them until they know if they're going to have Mitchell Robinson back. One thing that seems likely now is that Robinson won't be in a game before the trade deadline. Now, Mitchell Robinson at this point is expected to be back sometime around the second week of February. That's kind of what I've been saying for the past few days now, and it seems like that's more likely that that'll be the time frame that we see Mitchell Robinson return to the New York Knicks. And with that in mind, maybe the Knicks do hold off on trading Sims, but the Knicks have looked around at shopping Jericho Sims in the past with hoping for a second-round pick in return for Sims and probably that open cap space unless they can get a player back that would make sense. Now, it's unclear if that's going to happen, and there is a trade that we are going to break down talking about that in a bit, but that's for another video, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that video so you can get that post notification going. Now, on top of that, where the Knicks are at right now, Mitchell Robinson seems like he's going to be back within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and if he's back and getting minutes and coming off the bench, which he will be, along with Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims has zero pathway towards minutes and wants to get more opportunities. So what does that lead to? It leads to Jericho Sims getting traded away off of the New York Knicks. It's not surprising. We've seen the Knicks be interested in trading Sims already. We think the Knicks just don't really trust Sims at all. That's what it seems like. And, I mean, Tibbs hardly plays him unless Towns is out. Then he starts him. Outside of that, Sims has not really been getting minutes. Once Precious came back, Sims' minutes have been completely cut. The Knicks don't trust Jericho Sims to be a useful piece to this contending team, and because of that, Leon Rose is going to look to trade him, and I do expect the Knicks will trade away Jericho Sims. I think he is the #1 guy who for sure will get traded off the New York Knicks at the trade deadline. He doesn't have a ton of value, man, so we're not going to see him get traded for much. I really think it's going to be for a second-round pick or for the player that we're doing a whole video on, so I'll refrain from that for right now. But we will see how the New York Knicks do this. I actually did talk about that trade once before, so it's not exactly new, but it is. It's now been relegated. It's now been mentioned by a Knicks insider. Relegated makes no sense right there as a word. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But look, Jericho Sims, his Knicks tenure is coming to an end. For his career with the New York Knicks, he's averaged 2.5 points with 4 rebounds, shooting 71% from the field. All those numbers are down this year. 1.8 points, 3.7 rebounds. I guess his assists is 0.01 higher, so congratulations with that, or 0.1 higher, I should say. Free throw percentage is also up, but the PER is down. Jericho Sims just doesn't seem at all confident in his offensive game. The Knicks have realized that, and they don't want to play a guy who's not confident as they try to be a contending team, which they are, and Sims doesn't feel like he fits with this team, and he doesn't. Look, Sims' best ability on offense is catching lobs and getting offensive rebounds. The offensive rebounds are helpful in the New York Knicks, but the lob thing, the Knicks don't throw enough lobs for Jericho Sims to really be someone who's really like a vital part of this team. And with a guy in Mitchell Robinson on his way back, it just makes sense to move on from him. Now, Precious Achiuwa has been getting the brunt of the backup center minutes as he's showed up in every game, playing consistent minutes, where Jericho Sims just has not been. I mean, you look at Sims compared, he's getting a few minutes here and there outside of 5 games on this whole game log, and these are only counting the games that he showed up in. There's an entire week that he just didn't play at all, where he sat on the bench for 3 straight games, and outside of that, it's just a couple garbage time minutes and then some minutes here and there, and that's about it. Sims has not really found his way onto the court, and the Knicks just, they don't trust him. Clearly, Tibbs does not trust him, and now Sims will likely get traded, and it's for the best for everyone involved, I believe, especially because I do think Mitchell Robinson is going to be back soon. And Auwu has just been having a better season than Mitchell Robinson. There's no way around it. You look at the way Auwu has been playing as the primary backup big man for the New York Knicks, averaging 5.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.8 blocks per game, 0.7 steals per game, 1.5 stocks, which is pretty solid and inconsistent minutes off the bench. He's not fouling. He's putting up he's hitting 51.5% of his shots and shooting nearly 36% from three. Auwu is just better than Jericho Sims, so the Knicks are moving forward with Auwu, which they should, especially because Auwu is more versatile. It makes more sense to hold on to him over Jericho Sims, at least for the time being right now. That makes the most sense. Though Auwu could still likely get traded, and I still kind of think Auwu does get traded off the Knicks, but it is a lot different. Now, Mitchell Robinson coming back is also going to have a massive impact on this. Mitchell Robinson has a career 8-8 guy. Last season, put up 5 and 8. When he was fully healthy, he was putting up 6 points and 10 rebounds per game with a steal and a half and a block and a half per game. The man had some awesome moments last season, especially in the playoffs when he was injured against Joel Embiid doing his thing. The Knicks love Mitchell Robinson. Tibbs loves Mitchell Robinson. Mitch is going to come off the bench and solve a lot of problems for the Knicks. The Knicks just beat the Atlanta Hawks in a game, and even still, you look at Clint Capella play, and you realize how much the Knicks need Mitchell Robinson, who makes Capella completely rendered useless. So once Mitchell Robinson is back, that will have a big impact on things, and it'll just move Jericho further down the depth chart. But Mitch won't be there until after the trade deadline, so it comes down to the fact that Jericho probably won't even be there at that point because the Knicks will know. The Knicks are going to know by the deadline when Mitchell Robinson's coming back. It'll probably be just a few days after that, so they'll have a very good idea of it. He'll probably be practicing with the team and everything, so they know they can move forward with trading Jericho. And even if they pick up another big for some insurance like a Moses Brown, I'd rather have Moses Brown on the Knicks than Jericho Sims at this point, if I'm being completely honest. I like Jericho Sims, and I hope he has a good career. I just don't think he fits on the New York Knicks at all. The Knicks have a better version of him, and to really break it down very simply to Mitchell Robinson, they're not the exact same player at all, but they do the same thing, and Mitch is just much better at it. And Moses Brown does the same thing as each of them as well, so you can replace Jericho. You can get $2 million off your books. You could potentially get a guy who could be helpful for the team, and maybe bring in Moses Brown as well, or Mitchell Robinson just comes back, and you just don't need Jericho at that point, especially if you still have Precious, who can play the 5. It makes no sense to keep Jericho Sims around, especially, I do think Mitchell Robinson's going to come back, and when Mitch plays, he's just an excellent force. He just does the same stuff as Sims, except way more effectively. He gets the offensive rebounds. He puts them back up. He's not afraid when he's on offense, where Jericho just looks like he doesn't have any confidence on offense, where Mitch, he just hunts down offensive rebounds better. He's bigger. He's a more talented defender. He just fits better. And look, I mean, Mitch looks right at the rim when he gets offensive rebounds. Jericho Sims takes a moment before every offensive rebound. He jumps and pulls it down and holds for a second. We didn't see Mitch do that once right there. He gets it and knows to get that ball right back up there. So it just is a matter of once Mitchell Robinson comes back, there's just going to be nowhere for Jericho Sims to play on the New York Knicks unless there's a couple injuries. And hopefully that doesn't happen. And if that does happen, we'll probably see the Knicks pick up a big man instead. Jericho's replaceable, if we're being honest. Hopefully Jericho gets traded to a situation that's best for him. I am rooting for Jericho Sims. He seems like a cool dude. I think he does have potential to be an NBA backup center still. I just don't think the Knicks are the right team for him. I think he could find his way on a different team. Maybe a bad team, a tanking team that can give him a lot of moments so he can try to learn on the court. The scarce minutes he's gotten basically his entire career has not helped at all. And I think if he can find himself in a consistent role for the first time since his rookie year, I think we will see Jericho Sims play a lot better. His best season was his rookie year, and it's because he got consistent minutes. I think the consistent minutes will help him kind of break through a little bit and become a viable backup center in the NBA, and I hope it does work out for Jericho. He seems like the man. Jericho, if you're watching this, 1, I'm shocked, and 2, I am rooting for you. It would make more sense for the Knicks to trade you. Hopefully you get set up in a good situation. But guys, what do you think? Is Jericho going to get traded? Is it the right move to trade him? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.